right, welcome back to the show. Today we are making one of my favorite items. I use it every day for beauty, for aesthetics, just to make my body remain youthful. It is tallow whipped body butter. It is sort of a craze right now. I've been making body butters for many years. I've been actually purchasing mine from a friend who makes it for me just because I haven't had a lot of time. So this is actually the first time that I'm making this exact blend. However, I've made cocoa butter with beeswax, whipped body butters in the past. So I'm going to show you, I think this is actually going to be very, very easy. And as you can see, I started the process of boiling some water here, and I'm going to put my tallow, which is sort of solid, into what my makeshift double boiler. So many of you may know what a double boiler is. Many of you may not. I have never owned one, and I've cooked my entire life since I was a little girl. What I do is I just take a pan that has some water in it, bring it to a boil, and then I put a stainless steel pot on top, and I'm going to add my ingredients to that. This actually only has a few ingredients. We have our tallow, which is beef tallow. Beef tallow is probably, you're like, why would I put animal fat on my body? But it's actually very similar in composition to our skin's sebum. Really helps to retain moisture. It's very similar in the composition to human skin and sebum. So it actually holds and retains moisture. It helps your body to just lock in the moisture. And as we get older, it's harder to kind of maintain that moisture, and our skin gets drier, and then it gets crinkly and it ages. So it also is really good to not clog pores, which a lot of people would think, well, I put fat on my body, like it's going to clog my pores. But it actually doesn't do that. And I have used it on my face. I've been starting to use it on my face along with my other skincare regimen. So the other thing is I cannot find my 1 cup measuring cup. We moved. And so, yeah, it is somewhere in a box, and I couldn't find it this morning. So I am using a half a cup, and I'm actually doubling my recipe. It calls for 1 cup. So this is if you're going to make like a smaller portion, 1 cup of beef tallow. So I'm going to double it to 2 cups. So because I'm using a half cup, I'm going to have to do this 4 times. So you put, that's 1 full cup. And then, so basically the ratio, I'm going to use a jojoba oil, which is really gentle in the skin. And the reason why I'm adding that to the beef tallow as well is because it's a liquid. And so when you add a little bit of a liquid oil to the solid oil, it will whip up really nice and it'll be a little easier to apply to the skin. Jojoba is also kind of what they call non-comedogenic, won't clog the pores, really works well on the skin and can be used on the face as well. We use it as a carrier oil a lot. Okay, so that is 2 cups of beef tallow in there. And I am just going to allow that to melt. It's starting to liquefy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my jojoba. And so the ratio, like I said, is like 1 cup of tallow to 1/4 cup of jojoba. So I am flinging tallow all over the place. But let me try to clean out this measuring cup. And actually, I won't do that because then I will have all our professional cookers say you don't use a dry measuring cup. You have to use a wet measuring cup. So let me grab one of those. So a liquid measuring cup usually looks like this. This is a really big one. So I'm going to use a half a cup of jojoba. Let me just put this up here. And then if I have professional cookers, I remember my home ec teacher, you never hold it up because it's not level. You have to sit it down on a flat surface to measure those liquid ingredients. So I'm going to actually add that so it mixes in with my tallow. So jojoba and tallow are the only 2 ingredients in there. We're going to go ahead and let the tallow, the fat, melt into the jojoba, which is already liquid, and it's starting to do that. Once that's totally liquefied, I'm going to let it cool a little bit, and then I'm actually going to add essential oils to it. My friend who's been making it for me, I've been giving her sandalwood and vanilla, and that's one combination I really love. It's gentle, it's light. Sandalwood is really good for aging skin. It's going to help to really prolong you to look more youthful for longer. And then the other one is patchouli. Patchouli is really good to combat inflammation in the body, so I like to put that on my skin. It also smells good and it hangs around a long time. It has base notes. So it's patchouli and vanilla. Patchouli is really strong, so I do a lot more vanilla compared to the patchouli. So I will actually drop all the recipes in here. The tallow is melting very nicely. This is almost melted. So once all of the tallow is melted in with the jojoba and it's all a complete liquid, we will let it cool for a little bit because we don't want to add those essential oils to the hot tallow and jojoba because it will change some of the chemistry of the essential oils, putting them in that sort of heat. So we're going to let the oils cool a little, add our essential oils, then we're going to pop it in the fridge for about maybe 20 minutes. We're going to let it get not fully hardened like it was, but we're going to let it kind of harden a little bit. That's sort of the tricky part. You got to go watch it, get it to the right place. Then we're going to pop it in the KitchenAid, or you can use a handheld mixer and just whip it up. It actually looks like you could eat it. And I guess technically you could eat it, but you probably don't really want to eat it. A lot of people use tallow to fry things in. It's much healthier than a Crisco or some sort of like vegetable oil that isn't good to cook at high heats. But the benefits to the skin have been amazing. I will tell you, I was getting like these weird rashes on my stomach, just some weird skin stuff as I was getting a little bit older. And I saw my friend was making this and I was like, oh, let me try it in an unscented variety. And I was amazed. I haven't had a rash since then. I had her then make some of my own with the sandalwood and vanilla because I trust doTERRA essential oils. So we use those, and sandalwood, vanilla, so gentle for the skin, so restorative. And then the last time we made some patchouli and vanilla. I've had no issues with adding any of those essential oils to it. So we have everything just about melted. There is like one little tiny piece of tallow. So the liquid tallow, so we can turn the heat off and then we'll let that cool a little. And then we can get the essential oils being added. Okay, we're going to turn the heat off. We're going to remove this. Now, if you're not using a true double boiler, this pan is going to be hot. So use some sort of a hot pad to grab that, let that sit, let that cool. And then we're going to add our essential oils. This probably needs to cool maybe 20 minutes. Add the essential oils, pop it in the refrigerator for probably another 20 minutes, and then we're going to whip it up. Okay, so second step is we've let our tallow and jojoba oil cool a little bit so we can add our essential oils. I like a lot of essential oils and I like it to smell really strong. So I probably go a little over the top. So I actually put a full bottle of our sandalwood, which this is only, it comes in a 5 milliliter. So it's about 75 drops and it makes a pretty big batch. So I actually put the whole bottle of sandalwood in and I mixed that in with just a whisk. And then because vanilla is very light, and slightly diluted with a little fractionated coconut oil, I actually put 2 bottles in. This is also a smaller bottle of 5 milliliters, so about 75 drops. So I put 2 of those in, and the reason why it's so easy to pour those in is because I popped what we call our orifice reducer off. So I just popped that up with a fingernail, and then I put my vanilla in, mix that around, and now I'm going to just pop this in the refrigerator and let it cool until it solidifies, and then we're going to whip it up. So we pulled this out of the refrigerator. It's pretty solid, but you don't want it to get too solid that it's chunky when you whip it. So it's sort of the tricky part of the recipe is figuring out what that perfectly looks like. So because this is the first time I've made this exact recipe, I think I've got it about right. So we're going to go ahead and whip this up and hope that it turns out like it should. Okay, so it's really thickening up. It looks a lot like icing. I'd like to see it just slightly thicker. I know the sandalwood and vanilla was always a little thinner than the patchouli vanilla recipe, so it may not get quite as thick because there's more essential oils in it. But it looks like it's thickening up really nice. Looks like white icing that you just want to lick your finger. I don't know that I'm going to get it much thicker than that. I probably could have let it a little bit. I could have let it go maybe just even a little more. Let it get just a little bit harder. It might have whipped up a little thicker. But I think I'm pretty happy with it. I think I could have let it in the refrigerator a little bit longer. I think if it would have been slightly more solid, we would have had little more thicker viscosity. It's a little runnier than I would have liked, so I think the key would be just to leave it in there a little bit longer. And I could put it back in the fridge give it a little more time, but I think you can kind of see how thick it is. It's not like running off, but typically it has peaks on it when it gets to the point I like, but it's still a nice spreadable, thick body butter. So I think when I make it again, I'll just let it in the refrigerator a little bit longer. But it's pretty nice. Let's see how the smell is. Oh, it smells good. Always seems slightly greasy at first, so you want to give that time to kind of absorb into your skin, but it will literally give you like the softest skin ever. I feel like my skin has gotten so soft. The other thing that's really nice about it is it has tons of vitamins and like antioxidants, so it is going to really nourish the skin. They say if you put it on when your skin is a little damp, or you could spray like a hydrosol. doTERRA had like a special limited time only rose hydrosol, and you can spritz that on and then add that this tallow body butter over top, and that will help to really retain the moisture in your skin, especially as you age. So if you liked this content, please give us a like, a subscribe, and leave us a comment if you go ahead and attempt to make this recipe. Let me know any tips and tricks that you make. We will link up the essential oils that we use. We'll link up our tallow, our jojoba oil, and we're gonna give this a second try. I may actually even pop this back in and just whip it up one more time and see if I can get it slightly thicker. But I really wish you the best of luck. Encourage you to get some tallow body butter for your family. It's not just for women either. It's really good for men, for dry hands, cracked heels. Winter time's a really good time to use it. And then of course, sun, we have the elements in the summer. It's gonna really help to moisturize. So give us a like, give us a subscribe, and leave us a comment below. Thanks for joining us, and we'll keep bringing you wellness.